with the advent of the Jazz Festival, BET had done a thing called Jazz in the Sun, I think it was. And BET had flown me and my band to Jamaica to do an hour special for them. And that thing used to be on BET like about 5 times a day, you know. And one funny thing that came out of that is that because they used to repeat this program, there'd be so many hours, people would see me on BET at like 2 o'clock in the morning. They'd phone me, my phone ring 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm sleeping. Boo, you on BET, man? And that is what my mother said. And I had a good laugh. I said, I know, man. But anyway, that gave me a lot of inroads into the American market.
When I went to Spain, spent 2 months with the band. I developed my own band, my guys with me. From there, there's a gentleman who came from Seattle. And every year, they have something called Fiddle Tune in America. And all musicians, all walk of life goes there in Port Townsend in Seattle.
Working with Patrice, like, it's really amazing. She's a down-to-earth person. So I recently wrote something and then I reached out to her and then like I sent her a demo and she was like impressed with it. So like that's how I got the opportunity to work with her.
One man sponsored the band, chartered the plane for us to go to Barbados to get visas and everything, and then we fly to Seattle. But man, I'll tell you, when we get to Seattle and we open that violin and that shack and that banjo, the people never heard that before. They say, my God, where these people come from.
And I recall one time we had finished doing this show and the security came to me and said, Mr. Hinkson, there's a lady there says she wants to talk to you. Should I bring her? I told him to go find out her name, and he came back and told me her name is Melissa Rambali. And she was our ambassador to the UN at the time, you know. And I didn't even know she was at the concerts. And she told me when I did I do, the tears came down my eyes because she couldn't believe she was sitting in the Lincoln Center hearing Saint Lucian folk music, you know, of all places, you know.
We played everything. We fly to Atlanta. From Atlanta, we went to Colorado. He picked us up in his car, big car, from Colorado and drive us all the way 525 miles to Wyoming. And that day, I played for 5 schools from kindergarten to college.
I had I had some of my music on a soap opera called One Life to Live. And because I had some connections, and then I used to record in Barbados with World, which is West Indies Records Limited. And they had an ongoing agreement with I think it's Warner Brothers or CBS Records. So my music got into America. And then the Super Bowl wanted the Caribbean halftime show. And because my music was in America, my name came up. And they contacted the tourist board and got on to me. And this is how I ended up at Super Bowl, standing on the map of Saint Lucia on television and playing Super Bowl with a lot of other Caribbean artists. Man. You know, that was just awesome. You know, you look at yourself and you wonder. Sometimes it's surreal. You wonder how I got here, man. How did I get here? You know. And then when we get in the ball game at the time, I'm looking into the stands. I'm seeing almost the whole population of Saint Lucia in one place. You know, it's a great feeling. You know, and that's where my guitar got me.
Yeah, man. I've heard my music playing in many places, whether it be Miami or New York. Just recently in the UK, you know, in a bar.
Martinique, St. Vincent, Barbados, Antigua, French Guiana, St. Martin, Guadeloupe, Paris, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Canada, Florida, Mauritius, that's in the Indian Ocean.
I remember Ricky T, Pressure Boom. That was a turning point.
in the industry of Saint Lucia, where our team used all of the resources that we had to get that song out there into the world. And I remember we flew to Miami Carnival. Oh yeah, flew to Miami Carnival, and Ricky T was booked on a show, flag party. That was a Friday night.
One of my biggest goals in my early career was to have music that played all over the world. You know, I always look at my stats on iTunes or Spotify to see where's my music being played. You know, even recently I had a song that was #1 on the reggae charts in France.
And while walking to the event, his song started playing inside of the event, and we were outside. And he was like, "Wait, we don't have a flag," because he had to perform. We don't have a Saint Lucian flag, so we stopped by the flag man. There was a flag guy outside. And we said, "Yo, you have any flags? Saint Lucian flags?" He said, "Nah, boy. Some big artist from Saint Lucia performing there, boy. And all the flags sell out." And Ricky T was right there, you know, and that was a big moment.
There are many paths to success in this business. And a lot depends on how successful you want to be, you know. You can decide, well, I just want to play what I want. Well, you can do that if you want, but you may not have enough following, or you may not generate enough interest in what you're doing for you to live a comfortable life.
One of the things I realized from very early is that in order for me to be comfortable financially doing music, I had to diversify. So whilst performance, I think, would be my biggest source of revenue, it's something that can fluctuate.
I went for a lot with, I won't mention names, a lot of artists, a lot of producers, and it's like, in order for you to make it out, bro, you need your own stuff. So I started, you know, buying my equipment one by one, and then started investing. Yeah, man, that's what makes your money, so you gotta invest in it. So that's why I did it.
Even my studio, as much as when I began my studio, Major Records, it was more about me having a place to record. It also became a business where I could charge artists who come in here to record, you know, or I could have people come in there, voice, do different things. And that really helped to broaden my streams of revenue.
In the music industry, well, everything that I do involves music. In the music industry, right? All different facets of music, from performing to voiceovers, to jingles, to music, to songwriting, and even I have an agency where I help musicians get work on at resorts and cruise ships and stuff like that. So it's all tied. It's one big ecosystem.
Sometimes you not even know it's my voice, but I have a lot of jingles on the air. Bangers Saint Lucia had one running for the longest time. We are the Bangers Saint Lucia, every Saint Lucia.
I always say, if you understand copyright and publishing, these two things and how they work, then it's easier to understand everything else in music and how to make money off of music.
Because I was fortunate to have been on tour, you know, and some of the people I interacted with, I got a lot of information from them, you know. And also, you have to read, you have to educate yourself in the business, you have to do a lot of reading. And I can tell you that it is important for you to it's best that you have a good manager. You must get a good publisher. A lot of guys here do not pay attention to their publishing.
One of the things that I learned was about publishing, because I sold some of the songs for Mr. Vegas, got a pretty penny for those, and not understanding that that pretty penny meant that I would have to sign away my publishing.
Because your publisher will shop your music around for you and try and get placement for you. So that is an area that I want to advise young people to pay attention to.
Copyright and publishing works hand in hand. Copyright basically is the creation of an intangible thing, right? So you create something out of your head. You sketch whatever you sketch or you write a song, immediately that song belongs to you. It's your creation, right? But you can't monetize that if it's not registered, right? Somebody else has to know that you're the one that created this. Because if it's not registered, then a third party can take advantage and monetize it on your behalf.
So for example, what my publisher does, he places my music, he exploits my music for me. So, your publisher will try to get your music in commercials for you, or in movies, or some kind of game show. And generally, if you don't have a big name, the deal with your publisher is normally about 50-50.
Publishing is when you decide to put it out to the world. So you can have your works in your room, in your house forever and ever, but it's not published. If you decide, I'm going to put this on Facebook, I'm going to put it on Instagram, I'm going to put it on the radio, then you become the publisher, right? You put it out to the world to be published.
And then, but it's also advisable, you don't necessarily have to give one guy a publishing worldwide, you know. So you can give one guy to the US and somebody to do Europe for you, kind of thing. Because the networking thing, you know. But it is advisable that you get a publisher, because there's a lot of money to be made of publishing.
You create a song, that song ends up being a hit. You know, people like that song. It has a catchy phrase or a catchy this or a catchy that. As a publisher now, you can then say, hey, X and X company, I have this song. I think it fits. I think, you know, the concept can fit with your product, all right? And you pitch that to them and they say, oh, I like it. Let's do a TV commercial with it.
Jazz is a very niche market, comparatively speaking. So they say to me, if it doesn't get played, it doesn't get heard. And if it doesn't get heard, then there's no money to send for you. You know? So let us go in this direction or that direction, you know? And sometimes I have to. You have to know that sometimes you have to compromise. And also, what I always say to a lot of young musicians, you have to learn how to be managed.
Yeah, I always like that if I'm going to create music, people are going to react to it in a positive way. So, you know, I learn from it too. I think, especially in soca, danceability is a very important factor. Sing along is always very important. You know, so whenever my music plays out, I look to see what really is lacking. You know, or the sound, is the sound right? Is it hitting right? Are people feeling it? Are they connecting with it? Are they singing along to it? Is it catchy enough?
Whatever the concept is, I try to make it as palatable as possible, as sing-along as possible. And the messages, I think would the majority of people could relate to. So whatever the topic may be.
So sometimes we'll have an argument over what I want to do and what they think is best. And more often than not, they win the argument. You know, it's like one time I got a call from Keith, and he had just come from Senegal. He said to me, Boo, I think we should release African Queen as a single. And that's a song I had done 4 years ago. That had been released 4 years prior to him telling me that. I said to him, nah, man, that song is too old. I have a lot more news. I have newer stuff than that. Why are we going to release that now? You think I just came from Senegal and I was playing that song there.
Nobody can really tell what a hit is. Nobody can tell what a hit is, and it just might be that thing that you personally like that touches, you know, more people out there.
And one day he called me and said, Boo, you know you're on the charts, man. I said, on the chart? Which chart? He said, Radio Guitar 1, go check it. I said, what song? He said to me, African Queen. And I was shocked because we had agreed we're not going to release it. And there I was at number 8. And then when I checked, I went up to number 4, number 6, number 2. I spent some time at number 2. And I spent 6 weeks at number 1 with a song that I told him don't release. So this is why I say, sometimes I say to the young musician, you have to learn how to be managed, man. Sometimes learn to listen to your people.
Before any record of mine goes out, I'm not one of those artists who kind of hold things back until it releases. Everybody hears it. Anybody that I think has a good ear, they're gonna hear it before it actually comes out. So I know whatever I'm putting out is of good quality.
The way we connect to our music, the emotional connection we have to our music, is very different to what the people who handle your music have. You have an emotional connection that sometimes overpowers the other connections. It will overpower the financial considerations and so on. The people who handling you don't think like that. They think in a business.
There's different stuff you could do to market your music, you understand? Like so many different things you could do.
So we created these business cards with QR codes and all of our online information, and we would just give it to the guests, and have the shops, the hotel gift shops, give it to the guests because the guests would like what we do and this and that and that, and the guests would go online and purchase the music and follow us and all that kind of stuff. So
I've built a team around myself of friends within the industry. Myself and Kidel have built a relationship through videography. So whenever I put out a product, it's always not just a song, but a song along with a good music video, reels, different things like that. YouTube marketing, Google marketing as well.
But the visuals has a lot to do with it also. You understand? Like with me, all right, I'll give one secret. Like with me, what I normally do with my songs when they hit or even before they hit, the ladies love the music. So I'd send it to them. Oh, I like that one. I'll do a video dancing to it. You understand? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 women do that. I post it. So maybe this girl from Jamaica or this one from Trinidad is like, oh, I like that song. I could do better than that girl. You understand? Then boom, she does her own video.
We would do commercials that we would play outside of Saint Lucia and all of the YouTube stuff. And we would again, being blessed, we would have the opportunity to work with major artists like the Marshall Montanos, Kes, Benjai, Fayan, Bungie, Skinny Fabulous, Vegas, Busy Signal, all of these different artists. And what we would do, I don't know if some people may remember, we would make sure that the phrase 758 would be said at the beginning of most of the songs.
And just networking, man, just reaching out to people within the industry who have that clout and they're able to get your stuff out there. And having a good relationship with those DJs, with those radio personalities, setting up interviews. Another stream is influencer marketing. I've gotten heavily into that and working in different companies over the years, like Flow, Unicoma. I'm now with Rubis. So using that and fusing their product with my product to reach their market and they reach mine as well is a way to just get your stuff out there and get your music out there.
As a matter of fact, now, what the guy's been doing is that I would, before release a CD of 10, 12 songs, now what the guys do, they release about maybe 4 or 5 of these songs as singles. So they release one up and get the traction. When it begins to lose traction, they release another one. When the same thing happens, they release another one. So your name is always there. And then they release the album.
And another way, use the platforms. It's there at our fingertips to use. We should do that.
You can put your music online, on iTunes, Amazon, all the streaming platforms. There you can make money, YouTube channels, all that kind of stuff. You have companies that collect on your behalf and send that money to you.
The other thing that has changed drastically is that a lot of people have to depend on streaming to get some kind of recognition.
No, but I could safely say the majority don't use their streaming platforms, or they don't maximize on the revenue that they can make. Partly because, again, it's the knowledge. Another thing would be the banking system would kind of limit where you can collect money from. And some of the people who know would have to go through PayPal, and then PayPal takes half of your money.
What you get out of streaming is just recognition. Because the money that streaming pays that's a joke. As a matter of fact, the Grammys Academy now lobbying Congress to change the laws on that govern the streaming platform because the composers and the authors of the music are hardly getting any money out of that. You can get something like 0.00397 of a cent for a stream.
And, you know, when you look at some of the more successful people within the music industry, their biggest streams like Rihanna or Jay-Z is not from them actually creating records.
The bulk of it goes to Spotify, who in turn has great investment from the record labels. So bulk of it goes to the record labels. But I mean, even with that said, if your music is registered properly and your publishing is out there in the world, right? Your registered publishing is out there in the world, you can collect more of that revenue. What I appreciate about Saint Lucia's music, also the artist, Saint Lucian artist, is that I believe that we have something that very few Caribbean islands have, in that we can adapt to a lot of different types of music.
I think there's great potential. If you're talking about the soca, you look at the soca we had this year, were some great songs.
So the influences of other music is very strong in our music. So it's not hardcore Trini soca. It's not hardcore reggae dance, dancehall or reggae, Jamaican reggae. It's usually a fusion of these. I
think in terms of the Dennery segment, we need to broaden the topics, and we need to cause the music to evolve, and we need to do it quickly. Because if we don't, we might end up with a problem.
I see there's a lot of growth. If the artists actually put in the work that they're supposed to, I see more growth. Yeah, and right now I see like a lot of young upcoming Dennery segment artists. So it's like we inspired them. Yeah, so I feel like there's more growth if we do continue putting in the work we're supposed to.
Because if you notice, with the advent of the Afrobeat uses some of the same rhythms that the Dennery segment uses. The Afrobeat has exploded.
Remember, I did this song, Calm Down. This song's big song. Song played for the Football World Cup. Everybody's singing word for word. All of this happened. The song is probably 2 years old, right? Never won an award in the US until he did a remix with Selena Gomez, right? So it's the record labels. Once the record labels benefit from it, the US record labels can benefit from it, then your song will go out to the world.
This is an industry that is driven by your own human capital. So you can get generation after generation to develop it and to feed into it. And we can do this and bring money back into the country. We want to know that our contribution to the GDP of the country is something that government can no longer ignore.